How's it going? In this video, we are going to go over the singular one reason as to why your ads aren't performing no matter what creative, copy, landing page, offer, or targeting you try. This is so foundational that it's literally behind all your angles, all your copy, all your creative. It doesn't matter if you're making ads for TikTok, Google, Instagram, Facebook. This is so foundational that most brands miss it. Because this is the kind of stuff you learn in like foundational copywriting, and often people skip to strategies, hacks, etc. before they even understand like fundamentals. So this is one of the most important things. This is really going to go through Breakthrough Advertising, Breakthrough Copywriting, which is a foundational book written in like the late 60s. And it's literally the most important thing you could possibly know when it comes to actually getting an ad to convert. All right, so let's hop right into it and let's get started. All right, and to show you that this stuff really works, this is something that we applied to this brand. I've talked about this case study before. They're doing really well. I need to update this, but literally just in the past 30 days, they're at a 7X on TikTok, 20K spent, 134. Revenue generated this month, we are spending around 80 total. So yeah, it works. So let's just hop right into it, okay? Sweet. So I will start off with this quote from the 5 stages of consumer awareness, and Eugene Schwartz, which is really where the strategy comes from. He says each of these stages is separated by a psychological wall. On one side of that wall is indifference, on the other side intense interest. So basically, once you understand this, you can take someone from literally not caring at all about your brand or your product or your ad, and then get them to have an intense interest and obsession with your brand, product, or ad, okay? And indifference meaning like a complete lack of interest, concern, or sympathy. So literally like just not caring at all. So on one side, people don't care at all. On the other, once you break through that wall, people are literally obsessed, okay? So let's hop into the 5 stages of consumer awareness. So it starts off with unaware, problem aware, solution aware, product aware, and then most aware, okay? So what happens a lot of times is most new brands especially, or even established brands, misidentify where consumers are on this stage. If you launch a new product and people aren't aware of it and you immediately put on a sale, what's gonna happen? Is that gonna get you more sales or not? Usually not. Why? Because people are completely unaware of you. They're completely unaware they even have a problem that your product solves. They don't even know what's going on. Like the only people that should be running sales is when they're product aware or they are most aware, meaning they're just completely aware of their problem. They're aware that there's a solution out there. They're aware of you, that you exist, right? So if Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Nike, Adidas, Apple has a sale, people will instantly buy because they're already at the end stage of awareness. But if you launch a new brand, a new product line, anything new to the market that people haven't seen before, they're completely unaware. And at that point, you don't even talk about the product. They don't care about the product. All you talk about is the consumer problem. So we'll hop into this in more detail. But if your ads are not working right now, it's very likely that you are misidentifying where your consumers are in the 5 stages of awareness. And you need to figure out where they are so you can meet that person on the exact same level, okay? So let's just hop through this. We're gonna go stage by stage. So the first stage is the unaware stage, okay? And Eugene Schwartz says the prospect is either not aware of his desire or his need, or he won't honestly admit it to himself without being led into buy from your ad, or the need is so general and amorphous that it resists being summed up in a single headline, or it's a secret that just can't be verbalized. So in the first stage of awareness, people are so unaware, they don't even realize they have a problem. And this is oftentimes when you're releasing a new product that solves a problem that no one has really solved before. So most brands actually aren't in this stage, but if you're launching a completely new product, they often will fall into this stage. So at this point, when people are unaware that they even have the problem themselves, or they're not willing to admit that they have a problem or a struggle because they haven't realized it yet, all the ads, all the angles, all the creative should be talking about is the consumer and emphasizing with that consumer situation. It should just be making them aware that they have a problem or a potential problem. For example, diabetes ads. If you've ever been on TV late at night, at least in the US, it's like 1 in 20 Americans has diabetes. Is it you? Could it be you? What they're focusing on there is trying to make you aware of a problem that you might have, right? So at this stage, it's all about telling stories. It's about emphasizing and really talking about and having kind of that familiarity with the consumer, putting yourself in those shoes exactly, and really saying, okay, I'm one with the consumer now, and you're just trying to explain their current situation to them. You're just trying to be the conscious and tell them where they are and help them become aware of their problem. And you do that through stories, and you do that through in your copy and angles, trying to make them aware that they have a pain, that they have a problem going on. And that's all you do in the unaware stage. So if you're launching a new product, that's what you focus on. Not sales, not talking about what your product does, not talking about the benefits of your problem or of your product. All you talk about is the consumer, their current state, and trying to make them realize in their own head that there's something going on and they need to fix it. And later on, we will get into how they can fix it. Okay? Great. So the next stage is problem aware. Eugene Short says the prospect has not a desire, but a need. He recognizes the need immediately, but he does not yet realize the connection between the fulfillment of that need and your product. So at this point, the prospect knows they have a problem. Maybe they get cold. Maybe their phone isn't working as long as it used to. Maybe the battery's dying quick. Whatever that problem is, you've now made them aware that they even have a problem in the first place, that there's something going on. So now that they're in the problem aware stage, we need to try to push them into the solution aware. So really, here's when you talk about some of the benefits of the product and you try to create pain and push the problem and push what they now realize into an extreme state to where they start feeling the need to find the solution. So at this point, you don't talk about the product's features. You don't talk about anything in that realm. You're only talking about the benefits and the end outcome and the pain being healed of your product, right? Not the product itself. And then you talk about the reverse of what you mentioned in the unaware stage. You don't talk about all the pain, but you evoke more pain. You poke that, and then you say, hey, there's a solution out there and it can create all these benefits, but you don't explicitly say it's our solution and it does X, Y, and Z. You just say there is a solution and it will solve your problem. That's it. So in the problem aware stage, it's just all about the benefits, and all you're trying to do here is poke that pain and make sure that they are starting to look for a solution, right? And that brings us into the third stage, which is solution aware, right? Eugene Schwartz says the prospect either knows or recognizes immediately that he wants the product, what it does, but he doesn't yet know that there's a product, your product, that will do it for him. So now they're aware there's a solution out there. Now they're aware that there can actually be something that can be solved, that there's a benefit that they could get to that could take this pain away, that could relieve it, right? So at this point in the solution aware stage, what we're really trying to do is get a little bit more into the product features. And you're saying, hey, now that you know that there's actually a solution out there, that your benefits can be found and that your problem and pain can be really solved, now you say, here's our solution, here's what it does, and here's how it competes against other solutions out there. And now you're getting more into product features. So only when people are aware that they have a problem and that they are aware there's a solution out there do you start talking about some more of the features. You start bringing out the claims and proofs that show that your product can actually create that benefit and can solve those problems. So in the solution aware stage, this is when you can get a bit more into the product and you can start comparing it to competitors. And now you say, hey, this is the right solution. Our product, our solution, our thing is right for you, okay? So next is getting into product aware. So here your prospect isn't completely aware of all what your product does, or isn't convinced of how well it does it, or hasn't yet been told how much better it does it now. So now they're very much aware that you have a product and that it does 1, 2, and 3, but they don't know the full detail. So now this is when you push them a little bit more with some of those discounts and deals, some of those promotions to try to incentivize, but even more so than that, educate them on the features, the story, founding story behind the product, how it's made, why it's made how it is. This is when you get into the nitty gritty, because now they're aware that your product does these 3 things from a high level, but they're not sure on the detail of it. They're not sure of the process behind why it works, how it works, and really the reason it even exists and why you even created it, that founding story. So this is when you get into the nitty gritty of what the product does and you get beyond the high level 1, 2, 3, here's what it does. This is going into everything you possibly can around the product, and you start to offer a little bit of discount and some deals here, right? What a lot of people do, they have a somewhat new product, they're trying to push something, but they're trying to offer deals in the product aware stage. When in reality, your market knows that there's a solution out there for what you're selling, that your product solves some problem that they're facing, but they don't care about you. They don't know about you enough yet to be incentivized by a discount or deal. So most of the time people switch these two around, and your market's actually only solution aware when you think they're product aware. And that's why those discount and deal ads never really work. It's because they're not really pushed on the solution. You haven't done enough explaining in the solution aware stage, okay? So again, in the product aware stage, now we can get into the nitty gritty details of what your product does behind how it's made, all that good stuff, and we can really get into it, okay? Now 5 is the most aware stage. So this is where Eugene Short says the customer knows your product, knows what it does, knows he wants it. At this point, he just hasn't gotten around to buying it yet. So at this stage is when we don't really need to talk about features anymore. We don't need to talk about how it's made. We don't need to talk about the founding story. This is the point where Nike, Adidas, Coke's at, all that stuff, no one needs to know really anything anymore about those brands. Everyone's very aware. At this point, it's here's a deal, buy it now. That's it. Most brands are not in this stage, and you're probably not in this stage, but at this point, all you need is a little push with an incentive. You can offer a guarantee, talk about your return policy, talk about customer testimonials, that kind of thing. All people need is a slight push, getting rid of that one fear. Maybe it's the fear that the product's bad quality, guarantee. Maybe it's a fear that the product's not worth it, slight discount. Maybe it's the fear that other people don't like it, customer testimonial. All these things can help solve those fears, but at this point, it's just a small push and then they're gonna buy, all right? So again, most people think their market is oftentimes in the product and most aware stage, and it's really not. It's really not. Most of the time, it's in the solution aware stage or the problem aware stage. And at that point, we can't be offering discounts and be diving into the features like crazy of the product. We still need to be talking about the brand itself and the product from a high level, the features and benefits more than anything before we get into the stage. And if you have a new product, then you don't even want to be talking about the product at all, only be going through bringing out the customer pain and really emphasizing with them and really talking about that they have a problem in the first place, okay? So this is kind of how you can implement this into your ads and actually start to see results. So first, you need to identify your target market's current state, okay? How do you do that? You just need to research into your product a bit more, like how much do people actually know about this? Do you have competitors? All that kind of thing. You need to just figure out where your customers actually are, where your target market actually lies on this scale, okay? You can talk to customers and see, hey, have you heard about our product before? Are you facing these problems? And you need to identify where they're at so you know how to speak to them properly to push them along this stream, okay? And then once you know where they're at, then you can match them. So if you're like, okay, we're pretty sure most of our customer base, 80% is probably in solution aware, maybe 20% is in product aware. Okay, perfect. That means we need to be going through more claims and proofs. When they're solution aware, they're aware that there's a solution out there, but they're not sure that really your product exists and that your product's even right for them if they do know it exists. So at this point, you need to be going more into a high level view that your product exists and it's the best one to solve their problems, okay? So then after you match the state of your target customer with relevant angles, then of course, you just wanna try to move them as quick as possible into the next stage. So after you realize they're solution aware, you create messaging, angles, ads, and you really push as many people in your target market into the product aware stage as possible. You continue doing that until they're in the most aware stage. So you really just try to keep pushing everybody from one stage into the next, okay? So I hope that makes sense. Again, this is literally one of the most important things when you're starting a new brand or even when you're scaling ads. And oftentimes people's ads do poorly because they think they're in this stage, they're offering discounts, deals, talking about the product like crazy, when in reality, people don't even realize they exist. People don't even realize they have a problem that needs to be solved. You need to bring out those things first before you can talk about your product and into the nitty gritty, into detail, and talk about discounts, right? You need to make them aware that they have a problem. You need to bring out that pain. You need to make them realize that you have the best solution for them before that. So I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next one.